Hi creators, it's Claire from Springworth and it's time for an update on the Hexagon English paper piece double bed coverlet. Now that is a mouthful. I have 37 triples sewn together, which is 111 individual hexagons, and I've just started to organise them into either planes, kind of solids, or patterns, so that I have a bit of a, at least almost equal, like I'm not looking for perfectly equal because there'll be different colours, but a kind of a balance of patterned and non-patterned. I've also just introduced two new colours, two new fabrics. So I've got these pretty much grey with the florals on, so there's very much like a small floral patterns theme running through this quilt. And then I've introduced this kind of dark teal, and this is the one that's got little spots of purple in, which will tie in that lilac, but I'm going to need more of that as well. So I'm just kind of chipping away at this project, piece at a time. Oh, I've got extra. I've got 39 finished, so I've got one in each of those new colorways. So that's awesome. So I'm slowly making my way through 1/10 of the way through the project, and I'm kind of staging this. So I've got fabric here and templates. So I'm making them I'm making the templates, and then I'm coming in, cutting out some of the larger hexagons to be paper pieced, and then I've got the kind of those ready with the glue, with the paper pieces ready to go, and then I've got this bag, which is my sewing bag, and I have the kind of all just in here ready to pick some out, so that there's kind of a constant flow, and I don't get to sit down and think I'm going to do some sewing and not have any left, or I'm not in a gluing mode and it turns out I didn't have any fabric cuts. I'm just trying to keep a stash of each stage so that I can keep the project going. So I'm actually going to start using I've got a silhouette cameo from way back. I'm actually going to start using that to cut out my paper pieces, so I'll go ahead and show you that in action now, and then I think after that I'm going to have to introduce some more new fabric. But the other thing I'm trying to do with myself is kind of paste the fabric so that I'm using different ones, so it feels different when I'm sewing and I'm not just constantly sewing the same colour, because that's just another way to keep it interesting. So let's find some more fabric and I'll show you those hexagon cuts now. So I have my bar set up from a little template and then maximise how many I can get on, and now I'm going to send that to the cameo and it will cut all those red lines. So we'll do this in real time, and my mat isn't quite as sticky as it could be, so I will have some waste, so I'll just try and keep it adhered. I'm not too worried about the waste because this is leftover paper that's actually printed on one side, so it's basically scrap paper, and the time saving this creates is just incredible. So I'm willing to waste a couple of hexagons for getting, what is this? 19 hexagons in. It's about 2 minutes on the machine, about a minute to set it up and about a minute to peel everything back off. So let's say 5 minutes for 19 hexagons. Like, I'm pretty happy. Even if that's 15, that's still good economy for me. So there it is finished. I'll unload it and then I will peel all of those off and we're ready for piecing. 2 new colours and an update then. So I've introduced this really kind of pale minty green, and it's, so this is its comparison to the kind of the other lightest colour I've got. It's very light. While I'm showing you this, I realised the clips I was using, they're actually rusty and they've left little rust marks on here. So I'm glad I found that out now rather than 6 months or whatever later. So it's only on this one, so that's pretty lucky. Second colour then is this mid purple. Probably looks a little bit deeper on there, but it's not, it's deep, but it's not dark. So where I'm up to, I have 62 at last count. So that's a pretty impressive stack. 62 of those ready. I haven't done the maths on what that works out as out at. And then I have just a small pile of ones ready to be pieced into the little triangle. So it's definitely time to go back and start cutting some more fabric. And I think I need to go back to some of the kind of ones from the jacket, if you remember that. So some of those kind of traditional original blues. I don't have too many of the denim spots or the stripes or the kind of green. So I kind of, just to flesh out that you're not just got 1 or 2 in the whole thing, that there is some, you know, consistency of the colours throughout. But I've got plenty still to get through. But I will leave this video here with this impressive stack. And yes, my design wall has taken a tumble. I will fix that before the next one. So I think I'm actually going to try putting a couple of these together. So I'm going to try putting up the design wall, and then playing with a couple of arrangements and trying to put some together, and actually trying to take some of the papers out because they're not all perfect. And I just have never really paper pieced, not to this extent and not this style. So I'm going to try taking some of the papers out just to see how much give there is. Like, how precise do the corners need to be? So for example, in here there's just a height gap. Hopefully that comes through on camera. How is that going to cause me a problem, or can I work through that? Because I know that quilting doesn't have to be like as precise, for example, as woodwork, but how precise is not precise enough? So I will answer that question in the next video. I hope you stick around for the next part, and I will see you there.